Welcome to the classes of St. Michael's Academy. This is the class for EVS for class 12, and we will be continuing with chapter 2 of your syllabus, which is sustainable development. Before starting today's class, let us observe that what we had learned in the last class and also what we are going to learn today. In the last class, we had learned about the concept of sustainable development and that Earth has two types of capital. One is solar capital and the second is Earth capital itself. We learned that in order to create a sustainable society, the society has to use its resources wisely and use the renewable resources instead of the non-renewable resources. And we had learned that the non-renewable resources are finite and they have a limit. However, the renewable resources, they do not have any limit. They can be renewed as much as we want. So in today's class we'll be learning about the need of sustainable development and why do we need it so badly, especially in today's time. So today the whole world, particularly the developing countries, India is a developing country, and it faces a near crisis situation, both economically and environmentally. What is happening is that the people who are making policies, the governmental authorities, they are finding it difficult to formulate such programs that would work under the present situation. And the present situation is that the population is escalating on one hand and the resources are diminishing on the other. It is so happening that the population of the world is said to be increasing to 11 billion by the 21st century. So this marks the inevitable decadence of environment, which is weakening the economy and which is leading to social disintegration. Even the human history is filled with such examples where the remains of ancient civilizations, they bear witness, they bear testimony of the fact that these ancient civilizations were once the most flourishing civilizations in the entire history. However, they were also once destroyed by the increasing population and due to the lack of resources. Kautilya, or better known as Chanakya, who was the wise minister in the court of Chandragupta Maurya, said that the stability of an empire depended on the stability of its environment. He also bared witness to the fact that many civilizations, they weren't able to cope with the pressures of the degrading environment, which led to the decline of their huge empires. The link between environmental and socio-economic degradation cannot be overlooked, particularly because what took hundreds of years in the past is now happening in a few decades again. Today, very few have the comprehension and the capability to break this vicious circle successfully. This vicious circle, which leads to the lack of resources and ultimately leading to the decline of the socio-economic condition of a country. In our own country, in the post independence period, our attitude was dominated by the developmental growth, and we did not have a culture of pollution control, due to which the situation has now gone from bad to worse. The country is facing the following environmental challenges where priority actions are needed, and solving them will lead us to ensure sustainable development. These are some of the measures that can be taken to improve the condition of the country, and the first and the most important one of them is population stabilization. The public, the common public, even the public of rural India, they need to know that population control is now a very drastic measure that has to be taken as soon as possible. It needs to be taught to them, and this message needs to be conveyed to them that how population increase is leading to the decline of our country. Secondly, the land should be the land that is being used by the country should be planned and integrated before use. For example, a land which has a good amount of forest or greenery should not be cut down just for making malls and or even colleges. Even the greenery should not be removed because of making colleges or schools or so. So the land planning of India should also be done very carefully and in an integrated manner. The third measure that can be taken is the conservation of biological diversity. Biological diversity does not only means conserving the animals, but it also means conserving the plants and also the natural resources. Simple resources such as water and also resources such as coal and petroleum. Coal is present abundantly in India, however, petrol is not. Therefore, these resources should be saved for future generations so that they do not have to completely rely on the renewable resources of energy. Also, conservation of resources is the uh, indication of a strong economy. The fourth measure that can be taken is the control of pollution, and it has not always been, but it should be a priority of the government that they take severe measures and tough strict measures in order to control the pollution. Each year India throws out a huge amount of waste that can be recycled or reused. India should begin a culture of recycling and reusing the goods that are imperishable or that cannot be decomposed very easily. This is a very important measure to be taken. The last important measure to be taken is upgrading the environmental laws. These laws should be stricter than ever, and they should impose fine on the factories or even the people who pollute the environment or are breaking any law that in turn harmful to the environment.